listening to the Real Estate Financial Coach podcast, financial planning topics for real estate investors.
The real estate model has changed with social media and mastermind groups and all the things that we all do. It has changed the flavor of real estate. And these people are able to do high volume without a lot of staff. Where mom would put on her high-heeled shoes and show these people a million houses. They're doing it through like online video tours and a virtual assistant.
Let's go there because it's a good segue, which is you talked about this being your baby. I have been on your social media stuff. Your place is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Absolutely gorgeous.
We worked hard at that.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a couple of ways, because again, as advisors, we're looking to help clients maximize this, not only from a psychological standpoint, but also from a dollars and cents standpoint. And so two things. One is in terms of the upgrades, decor, other things that really maximize its value as a rental. And then two is what to look for on the front end. Oh, and well, really three, let's skip the middle one. But three is how to advertise this thing and make an impact on social media.
Okay.
There's so much available out there. So how do you do that?
So, okay. So to go back to decor and all of that, because that really is what comes first. So what I found to be helpful is I imagined my perfect guest. Me. It was me. I'm not going to lie.
Some people might say you're perfect.
Even
might, right?
I may. The ongoing joke, my grandfather always called me fastest and best, but that was just because I was always trying to be naively when I'm young, faster and better than everybody else. But it was just a way to say, I'm trying really hard. And so that's the thing. I don't put my toe in it. I jump my whole body in. And what we really decided upon, and the other thing was this was really good for our marriage because we learned how to really make sure we communicated with one another where like money is at stake here. He can't be like, blah, 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 and then come back and be like, you spent how much on what? Like, we really had to talk about what we were doing and made sure that everything we were doing made sense financially while satisfying our intrinsic needs as people. So one of the things we did, and again, I really feel like everything I did was dumb luck. I'm just like dreaming this out and playing like I'm an investor at first, right? It was play. I didn't know what I was doing. I had it all glamorized. I'm like, I could be on HGTV. So some of this is really dumb luck. But one of the really smart things we did when we were stupid was we picked our guest. Like we imagined what our guest was. And our guest
I love that. So
the
smart.
herd. Yeah. So our guest, spoiler alert, our imagined guest is not our most frequent guest now based on my research. But it doesn't matter because you still need like something to shoot for. Right. So at least we did. So we imagined that it was our herd of, we're usually somewhere between 10 and 11 people that vacation together for a week at the shore. And if you're anywhere else, it's at the beach, but if you're in New Jersey, you're at the shore.
Well, can I just stop you for just one moment about because this is such a great parallel for us as advisors. So we get coached as advisors to choose our client avatar and envision him or her, where they shop, what she does for a living,
right?
Whether she has kids or a dog, brands she loves, all of this stuff. So doing that for vacation rentals, really.
Well, and the thing is when you're trying, because remember, I'm not just the real estate investor, I'm the decorator, the owner. I'm the person who I always recommend you stay in your own place. Like I'm the person who has to know that
great
at
idea.
Night you can't find your way to the shower or the bathroom or whatever. We're your mom and pop at least when you're first starting out. So you're everything. So the way I did that was to come up with, and again, we had this emotional connection that really I did want the herd to come and love my place. It was really important to me that it was nicer than anything we've ever stayed in at the shore. Because when you have 11 people, although some of them were little and didn't have a say, everybody's got a different opinion about what makes your perfect beach vacation. Dad has to have the bedroom. My father has to have the bedroom that's looking out on the ocean. He doesn't care if the rest of us are down in the basement with the rats. Mom doesn't want to spend a lot of money. Denise wants a little bit of luxury. Stacy maybe, or whoever you date, whoever wants just like their kids to be a couple floors away from the noise so they can sleep. So you've got this big group of people that have all these different needs. So my whole thing was, if it was my family, my herd staying here, I want it to exceed their expectations. And that was really where I started from. And it was super helpful because it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I could have this really, one of the things we just did over this season, based on some changes in the STBR ordinance, our head count went down. So the rule here is you can talk about heads and beds and how many people you can sleep. You can have 2 people for each room plus 2.
Oh,
So we have a 4-bedroom home. One of the bedrooms, which I call the girls' room, like our room, ours is like, oh, that's Aunt Tootie's room. That's this one's room. But for us, like the girls' room has 2 queens in it. So it literally sleeps 4 people. So I no longer need a sofa bed. And during the off season, I swapped out that sofa bed for a comfortable couch because when everybody's down there and you've got 3 people sitting on a sofa bed, I don't care who you are, it is not comfy.
yeah, absolutely.
I upgraded the beds because I don't want a shore. Again, shore is a Jersey terminology. So if any of your listeners are listening from outside of New Jersey, just hear beach when I say
There you
shore.
go. Yep.
But old habits die hard. But I didn't want a shore bed, which is like this soft, squishy thing that you have a terrible week's sleep in. So we upgraded to more comfortable beds. So you have that initial cost of doing those upgrades. And you will also have, going back to the whole original question about your finances, and you will definitely need to put money aside for those kind of upgrades and also your maintenance. So like we lost an air conditioner when there was a guest in there. You know, you're buying a new air conditioner and you're not like, oh, let me wait and let me check around, and a week or so later.
Yeah.
You know,
So going to features, this question just occurs to me. Going off script here. So
yeah. Is there
do
even
you
a script?
think there's a do you think that there's a difference in what features are important with a vacation rental versus a permanent house? If you're in a permanent house, like it's got to be kitchens and bathrooms, and that's like the key. Do you think there's a difference with a rental?
Absolutely.
Talk about it.
So the little tidbit I would say about that really came from our permanent home, which is where I am now, like our residence. It was a second home. It was never a vacation rental, but it was a second home. And there was no closet in the master bedroom. We had to make sure when we were renovating this home that we were planning for storage and stuff. That stuff is not important in a rental. So
Valid
you don't
point.
have to worry about that. But what is important, and there are rentals that don't have this. And so a lot of it, and we're going to talk about the social media part, I know, but a lot of it is you're having professional pictures taken and your house looks beautiful. And maybe you're not counting how many chairs are at the table, for example. So we have definitely stayed in places as a family where there wasn't enough seats in the living room for all of us to sit
So
together.
interesting. Yeah.
I made sure if my house was sleeping 12 people can sit at the dinner table. I have different seating areas throughout. Like I have basically 3 seating areas in the main living area, but all of the seating that isn't in the main part where that nasty sofa bed was, which is now a sofa, is easily moved. So if you had a night where you all wanted to sit around the TV and watch a movie, you could put everybody who's staying there in that room at the same time. So some of that is looking for space and some of it is looking for furnishings.
I think that goes back to the great point you made earlier, which is the making a point to stay in your own place.
Yes.
It becomes very obvious that these things are not working.
So we stayed in our own place. The big test, when we bought, we already had bookings and we continued our bookings, but that Thanksgiving was in Nautical Watch and we cooked a full Thanksgiving dinner, and our family has a tradition called pies for breakfast, which has turned into a very cutthroat competition about it was supposed to be a nice morning where we're eating pie in our PJs. And now we're like, there's trophies involved and it's a whole thing. I think my daughter's won every year, sometimes with a partner, sometimes without. So it's time for her to fall off the
That's
top.
right.
But anyway, we did that too. So we had multiple people cooking multiple things and having to get in the kitchen, and I'm making a list the whole time. Wow, we don't have a cookie sheet because you have to provide all of those items. So even when I first moved in and I had the nice silverware that matched my nice plates, and you have to have like indoor plates. And if you have an outdoor area, like you should have something that's not breakable, like melamine or plastic cups. And I've got all that. And I go to make Thanksgiving dinner. And I quickly learned what else I didn't have. I don't think a lot of people would be doing that kind of cooking, but we do get people that come here for the holidays. I just wanted the people to be able to do it. And that's not going to show up on your social media, and it's not going to show up on your booking necessarily. They're not going to open the silverware drawer. But I did, when I was down there, open the silverware drawer, take a picture of everything. So when I was back in New Jersey, I was like, wait, do I have a this? And I'm scrolling through my phone. And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
see a steak knife.
So let's go to the social media piece. And
Yeah.
I think that makes most of my list here, which this has been fantastic. So again, key point. One of the things that you've talked to me about in the past is when you're showing people the property, show them the experiences they can have.
Yes. Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Okay. So again, I'll explain my situation, which may be unique for some people because I do have a property manager who handles all the bookings. They have a marketing department. They market the island in general. They market specific properties. They'll have a big feature on one, which we're getting ready because I just redid the backyard. So as soon as my little grasses grow, hopefully will be featured, but also like a list of properties that would fit whatever they're talking about. If they're talking about pet friendly, that's the other thing with the vacation rental, like down here, it pays to be pet friendly. It pays to allow people to book any number of days or nights, because that's the other thing you want to learn about your market going way back. But I feel like it's important for investors to know this. Like at the New Jersey Shore, you book for a week, Saturday to Saturday. Here, they tend to book much closer to their visit, and they book for any number of days. So one of the things that I had to learn, which was completely different from how we vacation, is to leave my calendar wide open and hope those little holes fill in. And also, if you allow pets, they do charge like an extra pet deposit or whatever. And even though you're worried about wear and tear, your audience is bigger because there's 300 homes on this island. I want them to pick mine. So that was one of the things. So they do their own social media. And really, I would feel like probably almost everybody who is a client of my property manager leaves it at that. Now, I do have a famous author that lives down here who actually inspired us to find this area. And she also
Are you guys buds yet?
Not only have I met her, I have now met her husband. So I am in. And he's actually somebody I really wanted to talk to.
That's awesome.
We share, again, I'm always business with pleasure. And I don't know if you could tell, but I'm not afraid to talk to people, and I'm not afraid to say, I'm the new girl. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm not afraid to ask people if they would help me. I have a little something to say about that too, about getting help and all. But I really wanted to talk to him because there were some things going on with the vacation management company. So I was like bound and determined to meet him. So one night he was out to dinner with my neighbor, and we went over there, and I said, "Oh, are you Mr. MKA, Mr.
You can say the name. I mean, this is common knowledge that he lives on the island."
Yes, Mary Kay Andrews. She has several homes on the island that she rents. And she's one of my favorite authors. And she is the reason why I even learned about Tybee Island, because not a lot of people have heard about it. But I had met her previously. She's very good friends with my neighbor who runs a local shop here on the island. And so my neighbor Susan was out with her husband, Tom. And I said, and we also share, it's a small island, so we also share contractors. Our contractor is the same. And we were actually waiting for her kitchen to get done before our steps can get done. But I ran into them at our favorite place where they have these delicious oysters that are farmed locally, Tybee salt bombs. So come visit and have those. And I said, "Hey, Mr. MKA," and he's, "Yeah." And he starts talking about it. I'm like, "Oh no, I've already met your lovely wife. I would like to meet you. I have things to talk about." And he was taken aback, and he said,
"It probably doesn't happen very often."
No, and it had a profanity in it. So I'll clean it up for our audience. But he's, "What do you want with a grumpy old guy like me?"
Right.
But like, no, I really want to talk to you about some of this other stuff that was going on, because I'm just trying to form my network of really good people.
Again, another key point for advisors to talk to their clients about is, especially if now you aren't anymore, but if you're 700 miles away, form your network of people who know what's going on and can help you with contractors.
Not just your professional network either. We do, now that we live down here and we've done this renovation, we have a contractor that we can bounce things off of. We have a realtor, we have a property manager. Like, we have all those professional contacts, but we also have people that I can call and be like, "Hey, is my house flooded?" Or, "Hey, I heard that this is happening on the island." And like, people that really, for the most part, my experience has been other vacation rental investors are friendly and we're willing to be a community. I don't know.
Because we got to cover the social media piece. So
back to that. So she does her own social media.
Yeah.
Mary Kay Andrews on her author page, and her homes are actually labeled the Mary Kay Andrews collection. So she does her own. But other than her, I don't know of anybody who's doing their own thing unless they're self-managing. But I also have my own Instagram.
I've seen it. I love it.
It's called Our Tybee Beach House. And I don't really post things like, "Oh, I got a new couch." Like, I might. But for the most part, if something really cool is happening here, I like to share that. So when we were down for the holidays, I took pictures of all the lights and let them see, look, Tybie's really great to come, even though it might not be warm, but it's pretty at Christmas time. I shared this week, and in the beginning, I was like, oh, I need to be on a posting schedule and all this. And now I'm like, you know what? I need to post when I sincerely want to share
That's okay.
what's going on. And so lately, as I've been walking to the gym in the morning, because now it's like we're full on spring. I don't know if you can notice the pollinating that is happening here, but we are full in it. And the birds are here. And so there's been a million birds, and these birds like almost pose for you. So I put together a reel of all these birds I've seen.
Wonderful.
And I just wrote, come meet the neighbors.
Oh.
And then always in my description or in the comment, like wherever I can put it, as our Tybee Beach House, I have a little thing that my more social media savvy, younger, my 25-year-old daughter, when she was probably like 22 and really into social media, I have a list of hashtags. So I have it in my notes on my phone, and I just cut it and paste it into the bottom. And it just says to rent our Tybee Beach House, click the link in bio. And then I change my hashtags around based on what I'm showing. Now, I certainly wouldn't advertise like fall getaway right now.
Right.
I would be like spring getaway or,
Well,
so I check out the hashtags.
I think that there's a tie back too, going back to a previous point, which is you took the time to think about your ideal renter, and then what you're posting should appeal to that ideal renter, right?
Yes. Yes. Because it's me, it's really not hard to think about it. I'm just like, this is what I like. The other couple things I do, I am in, and we haven't talked about this, but I'm in several, again, because I'm a female, several female investing groups on Facebook.
Yeah, let's go there. Because advisors, we like to think we're the only source of information.
Yes.
We're not. So what other information sources should advisors point their clients?
Yeah. So I'll roll into that as I'm wrapping up the social media. So one of the things that I wanted to tell you from the beginning to take away is like when you're in these groups, so I'm in like female short-term rental investors. And because we may someday be landlords, I'm in like lady landlords. And I'm also in another one that's everybody, but I've picked my groups based on the amount of support I would get and the lack of nastiness. Some of those groups are like, you're stupid. Why do you do that? I'm a noob. I'm going to ask a dumb question. But the other thing I always tried to do was give advice that I had. So it was really hilarious. I was like the Roku TV guest mode girl. When new people would come on, they'd be like, how do I make sure what do I do about TV? And so many people have streaming services, you don't have to provide cable anymore. But so I tell them to use the Roku TV and how to work guest mode. And it's almost like anytime anybody asks that question, you feel a pause. I feel like everybody's looking at me like, this is your thing, Denise. Yeah. Because at the time, that was all I could give. But I felt like I wanted to let people know I was
one
giving.
trick pony and keep pressing this button.
Yeah. But it was important when you didn't know anything to be to give something, right? So a lot of times in those groups, they say things like, let's share links. And then people click on your links, and based on your algorithms,
nice.
like Airbnb and Vrbo, that can change where you show up on the search page and whatnot. So I do follow other vacation rentals from our Tybee Beach House. Yep. And I do always post my link when it's time to link. And again, just circumstantially, I don't have hard data for this for all you data people, but it does seem like that always manages to get me bookings. And I don't think I'm getting bookings from those people. I think I'm being bumped up in the search priority, and somebody would see it that maybe wouldn't have seen it. So that is definitely something I do. I definitely thought I had a third one, but if it comes back to me, I'll let you know. But as far as social media, I want to do that. I let people borrow my pictures. There's some tourism websites like Discover Tybee and Visit Tybee. And if they ask if they can share my photo with photo credit, I always do. I spend time on social media from my business account, from our Tybee Beach House, liking and interacting with local people. Oh, I know what the other thing I was going to tell you. I also like people that if you want to go and look at my likes, you can see things like, here's a local artist that I like. Here's a restaurant that I like.
Nice.
And additionally, and I know people do guidebooks, but I did a digital guidebook in Canva that I can update from anywhere. And I say things like, here's how to log into the Wi-Fi, which they do tell you as when you check in, that, but it's just another place. So here's how to use the washer. Here are the restaurants I recommend. Here's where you should go if you want groceries. And these are all people that I've dealt with locally, my next door neighbor, for example, here runs a shark teeth tour where you go on the beach and look for shark teeth. I tell them, we talk, we both know we have businesses. I'm like, I'm going to feature you in my guidebook. And so I'm throwing business their way, but I'm also telling the people how to have experience. And now locally, even though people always, I never book people myself. I always send them to the property manager to book. But like friends of mine that are going down there or acquaintances of friends that are going, I send them the guidebook in advance.
Yeah.
So they can see what they can plan to do for the day. So that's a big component of social media. Swinging over to who you should know and what you should be involved in. Bigger pockets is a thing. I'm sorry, and coaches and
that's
financial
perfect.
people.
We coach on that a lot to go there.
No,
Great
it's
resource.
just, you can go there. And the thing I love about Bigger Pockets is I find most of the material I absorb now from them is not about STVRs, but about other ways of investing in real estate. I feel like they're soup to nuts. If you want to find something out, if you want to do a calculator and you don't have your own spreadsheet, they have it. I don't know that they have a short-term rental calculator, but there's somebody that talks about it on there. So I do those broad things. And then I also do the narrow things where like I'm trying to I network however I can. I network on social media. I network here. I like so much of it. Like I used to joke at my old job. I was there 13 years. And if I could say I'm the new girl and get information, I used it all the time.
Absolutely.
They're like, seriously, you are not the new girl. But I feel like if you approach somebody with the spirit of learning and you really are interested in what they have to tell you, that people will most likely share. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like I've asked my contractor, hey, can you recommend your accountant? Like when we were trying to decide if we needed to switch from our New Jersey accountant to a local one, hey, can you recommend an accountant? Like he's a contractor. Like he doesn't have to tell me who his accountant is. But he was like, my accountant stinks. So I use one in South Carolina now. I'm like, okay, keep in my New Jersey accountant. Thanks. But you just can't be afraid to ask. But I think you have to ask in the right spirit. There are definitely people who come on and are like, I know nothing. Teach me everything I need to know. And people don't tend to want to cooperate with that. But if you really are collaborative, I never like to be the smartest person in the room. I enjoy people first off, and I enjoy learning new things. So I'm never bored. I always want to know what's going on, what trouble I can get into next, as my mother always said. So that's how you really do it. But like, I'm into it, right? Like you're talking to me. If you had a conversation with my husband, Steven, you'd have a whole different perspective.
Absolutely.
Because like my jam.
Well,
I'm
and I think,
wired, but
and this is probably what we'll have to wrap up on because we're close on time here, but that's such another valuable piece of this as advisors is when you're working with a couple, you got to have both people in the room, right?
Yes.
Because what's important to you, it may also be important to Stephen or it might not. So,
right. And that's the thing. And we do always have to agree to be on the same page. And sometimes it's real easy. And sometimes, give me another quick story. I found this
all right,
company.
that's our last story, and then I'm gonna ask people how to find you because we're getting close
well, they're
on
gonna
time.
find me after they hear this story because they're gonna want to see this for themselves.
Yeah.
So I found this girl online, this woman who does nautical chart wallpaper. So it's basically like a big wallpaper mural.
Oh, I've seen it. It's gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have a perfect wall that is just confined to itself, and I wanted that nautical wallpaper so bad. And Steven's, we're not going to make any money putting nautical chart wallpaper on the wall. And we really went around and around about it until eventually he was okay with it. If I let you have the wallpaper, will you shut up? Because that's first time he gave in. That wallpaper's on the wall and it is amazing.
It's gorgeous.
And it's one of the few homes in the area that has it. It's customized to our colors of the theme of our decor in the house. And it is customized to Tybee. And there's a compass rose on the spot of nautical watch. So it's also a selfie wall. So come visit us.
That's it. If people want to see that wallpaper or your gorgeous place, where can they find you?
So the easiest way would be to go to my Instagram, which is at our Tybee Beach House, all smushed together. And then if you go to the bio, you can click the link and that will take you to Tybee Vacation Rentals website. And they are our property managers. If you just wanted to go to that website to see if other homes and then decided to look at ours, there is a property search box where you can just type in nautical watch. So her name is Nautical Watch, but I call her our Tybee Beach House. And honestly, that's the best place to start is at our Tiny Beach House in Instagram. It floats over to Facebook, but the experience is a lot better in Instagram.
Yeah. Well, this has been fabulous.
This has
There
been
are a lot
fun.
of things that I knew about short-term rentals. I've learned some things. I'm sure our advisor audience has learned some things as well. Thank you for your time today.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah. And I hope you have a great weekend.
Yeah. Well, and come see us.
We'll do it for sure. All right. Take care.
Yeah.